Welcome to Season 2 of Little Warriors. I'm your host, Rebecca Horan, and on episode 10, I'm chatting to Gina Daly from the Daily Dish Duo. They, of course, bring us great home cooking, family and budget-friendly recipes, and an incredible tale of their home life too. I hope you enjoy this episode. And before we start this chat, it's important to thank Loopy Loo by Lidl for supporting this podcast. And right now, their Christmas catalogue is live online, or you can go in store into Lidl shops across the country and check out all of their Christmas bits. You can get your Christmas dinner sorted in a Lidl shop. Their decor is incredible. Their wreaths are so beautiful. Toys for gifting. You can build a gingerbread house with your children from what they sell. And their mince pies are gorgeous. So the Christmas catalogue is live now, or get in to your local Lidl store. Absolutely delighted to have this woman here, Gina Daly from Daily Dish. So brilliant, not budgetary, because most are really fancy, but they're basically for families recipes that she does. A huge Instagram page that's blown up, but also a mum of 3, including a beautiful son who was born with Down syndrome genes. So much to talk about there, and raising a child who's also wildly different age to your other 2 children. So there's a big gap there. So a bit of a disparity and how you go about doing all that you do. But also Gina and I just had this mad conversation about something that we went through, which we'll also touch on. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you.
Yeah,
how are you getting on?
Really good.
Yeah,
really good. Busy.
Do you find this kind of time of year, particularly with what you do, is just like content creating or not?
Yeah, especially around food. I mean, food is the kind of the hub of Christmas, really. So yeah, there's lots of food stuff going on. But look, it's nice.
Were you and your husband always foodie?
No. Oh God, no.
Go on.
Yeah, no. I was only talking to. I tell the story quite a bit because it's funny how it all happened. Like, I couldn't cook. I'm not a chef.
Stop.
I've no training. I've nothing. And when I started cooking for Carl first, when we got together, he was like, it was lovely. Everything I cooked was terrible.
Stop. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I love hearing all this fresh. This is brilliant.
So it was only when I went through a slimming journey and I was losing weight and the food I was eating was monotonous and I really didn't enjoy it. And I was just, you just don't stick to, the calories and this, that and the other. So I was like, I'd love a McDonald's or I'd love a KFC. So I was like, how can I make that food
taste
and healthier, and got an air fryer, and I just started a little Instagram account kind of tracking like a little diary.
Yeah.
And if people were watching it, and that's so.
What was it called originally?
It was always the Daily Dish.
Daily Dish.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. So I know good bits about you and I know that you're a big deal, but I wouldn't have known the kind of origin of the story. But it is interesting about how when you crave a McDonald's, a Burger King, or it is the flavouring more so than that you want a burger, right?
Yeah.
It is the kind of like, for me, it's the pickles and the sauce in a when you're feeling really low and you're like, I just want that comfort. And for KFC, it's probably the spices. So what you were saying was, I'm doing my chicken fillets, my protein. You weren't getting any taste.
Yeah, because I think because I wasn't a cook, or I didn't have much, I wasn't adventurous at all. So it was like potatoes, chicken and vegetables. And because you're like, I can't have gravy, or I don't want to have sauce, and I'm trying to keep the calories down.
Jesus.
So it's just bland, plain, and like chili con carne, but like the tiniest bit of sauce, and there's no flavour. So it was like, what things can I use to bulk these up, to get it really saucy, to add loads of flavour to it, and just actually enjoy your dinner and enjoy cooking it as well.
So you're kind of self-taught on that. You just started
100%.
adding. Okay, great then. What works? Like, I'm a devil now. You're going to give out to me for someone who's like making healthy dishes, but I'm a devil if I'm picking a potato. I'd love a potato gratin more than I'd like a roast.
And that's okay.
Not
you can
really, it's cheese and cream, but I'll do that. I'll do a spaghetti with sauce. Like, I do like my tasty things. I'm not going to sit there.
So what I do is I do like tweaks on them, or a spin on it. So like a potato gratin, I would slice my potatoes. I'd use chicken stock with salt and herbs, and then fill that up. A small bit of light cream. There's like an Elmley. It's a plant-based one as well. And then your light cheese on top. So you're still getting
like a Parmesan instead of a thick, heavy cheese melting.
And if you're putting Parmesan in with a light cream, light cream tends to split when you're cooking. So if you mix it with corn flour, it stops it from splitting. So you can use that little hack. And then you're mixing it with Parmesan. So it's giving you a nice creamy.
Hang on, it sounds like you're a bit trained now. Did you go and get training?
No. I just can.
You've taught yourself.
Yeah. Been doing it for so long.
Because I'm a picker. Like, I don't know whether you like meals. I like to pick. I graze throughout the day. So like I'll have a snack there, then I'll go get some fruit. I wouldn't sit and have a dinner. I'm terrible. Like, I know that we should. It's a healthier model. But like I'm always kind of on the go. So I just pick. But I would say I like the tastier options. I'm not a bland food girl. But I think it's also how you grow up. Like in our house, my mum was a big cook. Did you grow up in a house with great cooking?
Yeah, my mum was a really good cook. But like she was a real mammy cook. Yeah. And I love those
traditional
dinners. Yeah, but I still love to do those dinners now. But I didn't get any life skills from her because she was like my brother, I'm 45 next week. My brother is 62. So there's a big age gap between us. And then my other brother is 60 now and my sister's 54. So all her kids had grown up when I came along, and it was like, go on out and play. And can I help you, ma'am? And I'd love to no, go on out and play and whatever. So I didn't know how to peel a potato. I didn't know how to do anything. And then my mum died when I was 17, very suddenly. So all of a sudden then it was just me and my dad at home. And I was like, what do we do? He couldn't even change a light bulb. The man had worked all his life and she took care of him. Yeah. So we were both very vulnerable. So we ate out and we did all the kind of restaurants, and that was our little kind of time to bond and we grieved and we did all of that through food. So food became very much, it was never a crutch,
but it was a happy thing.
It was a feeling of how, God, I remember where I was when I had this before, and I remember being with my dad with that. And so and then my dad moved away to Spain when I was 18, 19. So I've been on my own really since I was 17, and always just eating out, and I'd gain weight, and I wasn't choosing the healthiest things, and I didn't go home and cook. And then I was in a relationship for 6 years. I bought a house and that fell apart, and then I met Carl, and I wasn't at my healthiest mentally because that relationship I'd been in had kind of run me into the ground a little bit. It's just one of those things, and I was never good enough. I didn't look this way. We wouldn't get married.
Your confidence was in the toilet.
It was dirt. I felt like dirt, and I was like, how could anyone like me? And then I met Carl, and he changed all of that, and I was like, I can't cook. I'm not skinny.
I'm shit. Everything's shit.
I'm crap. And
very female, eh?
Yeah, and absolutely. And he's just like, what are you talking about? And he built me up a lot. And still does. Like we're married 18 years. We met 18 years ago, and we're married 18 years. We got engaged after a month and married after 6 months. So we knew. And I was like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how you're still here because I couldn't cook. And he was like, yeah, but like that didn't matter. But look at us now.
Did you grieve a lot of the lost time with your mum? Like that kind of immediately hurt, like whatever about the 6-year relationship which tore you to the ground, which I think a lot of women listening to the pod can resonate with, those relationships that break you, that are never going to go anywhere, and really you just feel like that the whole way through.
Yeah, I think because my mum, from diagnosis to passing away, was 8 weeks, and she'd been completely healthy up until then. She was only 53. I felt like sometimes maybe in a relationship I was like, I know this is crap and I know I shouldn't be in it, but I didn't want to let it go because I felt like that. I was afraid of letting things go, and I was afraid of losing things. So I put myself in a position where
dependency and loneliness.
I put myself through it because I didn't want to lose somebody else, and I didn't want to have that pain again. But then when you come out the other side of it and you look back and you reflect and you go, oh my God, like,
what was I wasting my life doing?
Absolutely, and I had no mind of my own. I was financially, emotionally, physically abused, and it was just, I think now and think about my daughter and what I would say to her if I knew but I never spoke to anybody about it because
you didn't have the training, you didn't have the resources. You were just going from losing someone and the grief of that. Then your dad moves away to always being the kid who just get on with it.
And people just kept leaving and going away.
Everyone's just leaving you. And of course you find some guy, and whether it's good or not, you're going to stay.
Yeah.
And thank God you got out of that.
Yeah.
God, it makes me sad. Like, it's funny, you're such a mom. Like, I can see you're a huge caregiver and you're very maternal and how great you are. And it's sad when you talk, and it's such a reflection of that generation. Go out and play, and there's a bit of a sadness there that stung of you saying, I just wanted to peel spuds of my mum or learn things. But she didn't have the capacity. She was stretched, right? She just raised kids. She had a husband to mind. Back then, women didn't have those options, or get childcare in or go to the office. She was stuck. And in doing that, she didn't see that you just wanted to be part of something.
That's it.
Sad.
Yeah, but I was always the sidekick because like my life now with obviously having 2 older children and then a very young child.
It's a similar replication, yeah.
It is, and I was always the kid that hung around with her parents. Like they were in, going golfing trips and stuff, and everybody's children were much older, and I was always this, the kid but everybody knew that was the dynamic of my mum and dad. It was my mum, my dad and Gina, and there'd be nights where they wouldn't have a babysitter and I'd be sitting in the golf club under the table drinking a Coke, so, but like I never felt in the way. It was always just, that's just how it is. And when I
that
look
was
back,
your life.
Yeah, and I did, I had so much time with my mum. My dad kind of worked a lot. The very traditional, he went out to work all day and she was at home. So we did. So maybe, there were times she was just like, I'm just sick of looking at you.
Were you close to your mum?
Yeah, I was very close to my mum. Yeah, I would have been very, very close to my dad. Like my dad was his little girl type of thing. Yeah. And because I didn't see him as much,
there was a fondness.
As soon as he'd come home, it was all the time.
It can be very frustrating when you're with someone all the time to keep that connection.
Yeah. But it was it was typical 80s growing up.
Did you grieve her badly or?
Yeah, and you still do. Yeah, and it's 28 years. Never goes away. It doesn't. You can't. It's a parent. But I think I remember when I turned 34, thinking I've been alive. Like I was 17 when she went, and I've lived 17 years without her, and it felt so strange. And now it's 27 years, 28 years, and she's been gone much longer than I knew her. But yet I feel like
it isn't like that.
No, I'd feel like if she sat here right now, it's like time never went anywhere.
Would she be so proud of you?
Oh gosh, yeah.
If she'd known you'd stayed in that relationship before Carl, would she be disappointed?
No, I don't think so. My mum was a really good woman when it came to things like that. Like she was such a strong-headed woman. And I don't think I would have been in that relationship.
True.
It's like sliding doors.
She wouldn't have judged it because she wouldn't have let you do that to yourself.
She would have
said, look, that's not working.
Yeah. Cop on.
Okay,
sort
that's
yourself
interesting.
out. She had really good, my brothers could come to her when I think my sister, and we all still do. Even I met my siblings the other day, and we sat and all we did was talk about my mum and my dad.
Wow.
Because my dad passed away 3 years ago. Just after Jean was born. It's always just the stories, and it's always back when in the 80s.
It's special that you can do
really
that.
Good.
There's no resentment or no bad things or, no one has a perfect family, as we know.
But, and then as I say, when we think, God, imagine if Mammy was still around. And I'd say, I wouldn't be with Carl. I wouldn't have Jean. I wouldn't have Holly. I wouldn't have Ben. So life would have gone totally different, because I would have been made go stay in college, you pursue your career that you want to be a graphic designer, and you do all of these things. She wouldn't have let me go, I can't be arsed going to college today. No, you're going. She would have been that
funny.
moment.
Life would have been very different.
Very different.
And I think that about relationships in my past, or choices I made, or even having our second kid, how that came about. And your life now, which you've said is gorgeous and full and busy, but also fundamentally different, because you have 2 children in their teens and a beautiful boy with Down syndrome, which is a whole new life journey, but also has all the beauty that brings. And you're very good at sharing that. I think, even we were speaking to a woman earlier who was like, he's just the best. But obviously it brings other challenges with kind of separation and, childcare and worry. And there's other things that brings. We spoke about how you met the divine Carol, and you guys are just so cute. And I can't believe you're together that long. You seem to have a lovely connection. Yeah. But you were talking about how you met and all that kind of thing. And you said, you had a really crap incident. And I think it's something that's important. And I didn't know we were going to go down this route, but I had an ectopic pregnancy and spoke about it on a podcast. And at the time felt like it was the biggest thing ever. It was awful. And I didn't feel there was very many voices. Can you tell me a bit about I didn't know that you had an experience of ectopic, because we know you've had 3 kids, but how did that come about?
So as I said, I met Carl in the April. We got engaged in the May, and I just knew straight away that I wanted to be the mother of his children. I wanted to be with him. And he was like, look, if let's see what happens. And we didn't kind of go down the route of, no, we'll wait until we're married and we're this, but we just wanted to live our lives and just let life. So I got pregnant. I think it was August of 2007, and we were due to get married in the November. And I remember telling my sister, I'm pregnant, and she's like, oh, you won't be able to have a drink for your wedding. I was like, I don't really care, it's fine, just the laugh that we were having. She's like, oh, this is great and this is wonderful, and we were both delighted. And then I don't know how long I was pregnant, because my cycle was a bit kind of funny, and I booked in, went to the doctor, got confirmed, got booked into Holles Street. Sitting in work one day in Grafton Street, I felt a pain. I went over to Holles Street. It just didn't feel right. And she said, look, it might be too early for a scan according to your dates. You probably only 3 or 4 weeks, could be a little bit, but 6 weeks would be the minimum before they'd find a heartbeat or anything. She says, best just probably go home, and if you're miscarrying, it's just going to happen. Just let it happen. And
that is just.
I was 26. I was ready to get married, start my life, and they're not the words I wanted to hear. So I was devastated, and I rang Carl. I was like, look, the doctor said this, and he said, look, that's not going to be the case. Let's just be positive. And then I was fine. I didn't feel anything. Everything was fine. I went to work on the Friday on the train. I wanted to sit down. A man sat in a seat in front of me, and I was like, sorry, could I sit down? He says, no, it's a long journey and I need to sit as well. And I was like, oh my God. And you know that feeling where your mouth just starts dribbling, and your whole body just like, oh. So I kind of slumped on the side of the train, and I said, I need to get off. Got the train back I was just living at the apartments at the train station, and a man who got off as well, he said, are you okay? I said, I need to get to my house just there. I said, I don't think I'm going to make it. So he brought me across. I went into the house and I got into bed, and I said, this must be morning sickness. I didn't know what it was like. I said, I must be having it bad. Just pain in my side. And then my sister arrived unexpected. It's like my mom was like, get up to her house now, sent her divinely to my house. And she just found me in an awful state. She was like, ambulance straight away. My sister, when I remember them coming, and he said, she was saying she's pregnant, and he says, have you pain in your shoulder? And I was like, no, I've no pain in the shoulder, it's just in the side. He says, I'm pretty sure it's an ectopic, it's probably erupted. And I was taken straight to hospital, but I was virtually, I didn't die, but I was there close to it on the way to the hospital, and they were trying to keep me awake, and they were asking me questions. My sister was answering. He said, shut up, I'm talking to your sister. And I just remember waking up and seeing my feet, but they had to bring me to Blanchardstown. They couldn't get me to Holles Street. The traffic was too bad. He said, if we don't get her, she's going to die. And the two consultants, I was blessed. They were never in. These two big consultants were in, who knew the most about what was happening, because it's not a maternity hospital. They'd flip me upside down to get any blood back into me, and they were talking to me each side of the room, keeping me conscious. And I remember the guy who was cutting my clothes off, and he was trying to be funny and keep me alert. He's like, have you got a good bra on? I said, my mother will kill me. I don't, it's just pennies. And he says, oh, I'm going to cut it off you. And we were having a laugh as much as you could. And then next thing, my dad is there. Now I thought I was hallucinating, and I was like, Daddy, what are you doing? He was on his way to get fitted for his suit for the wedding. And literally, as he got the call, he was outside Blanchardstown Hospital. Now, how all these things aligned. And I just said, it's okay, don't be worrying. And he says, you'll be fine. I says, and I just closed my eyes. I'm going to go and see my mum now. And I remember him roaring, no, Gina, don't go. And then next thing, I woke up and I was recovering from surgery. So I had my fallopian tube removed. So the baby had ruptured the right tube, and they were able to save my ovary. I know. But I was clueless as to what this meant for me going forward, or what kind of...
Why were you clueless? Because I think this is really important
because
to say, because you've never heard of it, correct?
I'd heard of it years and years beforehand. Somebody in school, we'd been talking about something. I think we were doing some kind of parenting class or something, really? And a topic was mentioned, but it was briefly touched on. But I think
I'd heard of a molar pregnancy, and I think that was kind of something that I don't know. It was always bad though. Yeah. And then I knew briefly, but again, not enough education on what a miscarriage was, where a woman, but it's always very much, it's early on. It doesn't mean anything. Actually, miscarriage can be from 4, 6, 8, 12, 22, right up to that stillborn. It's the ignorance and it's the shock. Like when you speak there about the rupturing, like I think women, and it's so great that you've spoken about this and thank you. And I get so emotional thinking back, but the rupturing, that is poisoning your entire body. It's ruptured. So a pregnancy that is bad for you is in an organ and is rupturing her body and effectively killing you.
Yeah, the blood
is just everywhere.
Yeah, like
it's just shocking.
And then you wake up, and I remember I sometimes they can get in and do keyhole surgery.
Yes.
And I was from
like
hip,
a laparoscopic. Yeah.
I was hip to hip stapled.
Oh wow.
Do you
think you were further along? You don't know. You'll never know.
I'll never know.
Did they not test the?
No, I don't. There was nothing. There was nothing after that.
No. I found
either. Yeah, it's kind
you
of
didn't
like
have your baby wasn't tested for gender or for
nothing. Nothing.
Did you follow up on that?
I probably didn't follow up as much as I should have. I think it just happened and I accepted it and I went on with my life. And
I was shown what had come out.
No way.
Yeah.
I think because I didn't have my mammy and because I was 26 years of age, I was still
I was older. I was 30 something. Yeah.
Still only when I think of it now, I think 26-year-olds are kids.
Yeah.
Like, I just like I'm here. I'm alive. What's happened is shit.
We move on.
We will move. And we have our wedding to look forward to, and we have all of these things. And what will happen will happen. And I think I just needed to get to the next thing. But then in between all of that, when there's the chaos is going on of preparing or planning a wedding, and you're marrying the love of your life and you're doing all these things, when the moment hits you that you realise I've lost a baby, you're like that grief and like still like it's one of the things that we still sit and talk about. I could be watching something on the telly and something will trigger it and I'm like, where is this emotion coming from? Because I didn't probably deal with it properly. And I think if it had have been, I did have Holly after 6 months. I had Ben when I got pregnant.
And just to say that you're very lucky. Like, yes, you can go on to have babies, but often you're told you need assistance with IVF. Like, Gina had one, yes, you saved your ovary, same as me, but you lost a tube. You were traumatized. Your body wasn't that well after that, yet you went on to have children. And that was much like me. Like I was told, you probably will have secondary infertility. You're also going to struggle. But I also took a long time to recover mentally and physically. Like I went away to Spain a few weeks after. It was during COVID. And I got an infection in the area that had been operated on. I was very mentally low. We'd been trying for baby for a while. Like it really did affect me. So it's so important to speak out about these silent killers and B, silent traumas. Like it's not something women are shouting about and it's so upsetting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the time, like when I remember a young doctor came in and he said, look, I don't usually work here, but ultimately want to be a gynecologist, but I have to do other areas of medicine and I'm in Blanchardstown training for X, Y and Z. I seen your case come in and we've never had anything obviously like this here. So can I come and talk to you? And it was only for his words. He said, Mother Nature is a wonderful thing. Your tube.
It expels things.
Yeah, he says, okay, your tube might be gone, but your other one will compensate it will all do all this thing. And I remember just like, I was on morphine. I was out there having 4 blood transfusions. And I was just like, okay. And I kept saying, I'm just alive. I'm alive. And I was convinced I had been dead. I'm alive. And he was like, no, he says, it will sink in. And he said, and when it does, he says, talk to people about it. But I don't know what it is about me. I think reflecting on it, I just brush things under the carpet.
But it's
and
survival
then I move.
mode. You're getting married. You're grateful for that. You're grateful for your partner. We do it all the time. It's like we focus on the kind of, toxic positivity sometimes, but then it's not about being negative. It's about just letting that there marinate a bit. Like it's a shit situation. Women should be very aware about ectopic. It can happen quite early on. Pain in your shoulder is a sign. Any kind of cramping, anything that you feel like women are so apologetic about asking for help.
If you like me, it must be morning sickness. If you feel something isn't right,
go in.
Generally speaking, it's not right.
Yeah.
And trust your gut.
And I think it's the levels, the pregnancy hormone levels with me were tested because I was so excited to be pregnant. That was great because my GP basically said, I'm concerned. But there's loads you should research if you're listening to this on ectopic. Like I was put on methotrexate for a week because mine was rupturing but hadn't yet, and that didn't help me and was actually very dangerous. Some people immediately operated on. Some people are like Gina, where it's a fluke, they didn't even know. So it's really, I thank you for speaking about it. I feel very strongly about it, and I find it very emotional. Gosh, Gina, who knew we'd go down that route? You go on to have a family, and you're telling me there later on you get pregnant and you have a miscarriage. You didn't want or expect to have another pregnancy?
I think because I looked at it, we were so blessed to have two, and to not have to have gone down the IVF route, to have had them naturally. I was like, we were so lucky. Like, we don't know how lucky we are. Like, I did have moments of that reflection, and I still do. I say like, things could have been very different for us, but we've been blessed, absolutely blessed, with two children, very healthy children, and we were happy. And financially then, obviously, everything, you know, we had a big mortgage, we were still young, so everything was just okay for us. And then like when the kids got older, that's when I started the Daily Dish, and I was doing my thing online, and I got a book deal, and I wrote a book, amazing. And it was a #1 bestseller, and all of this kind of stuff.
Absolutely, we'll talk about all of that.
And we were living our best life. It was through COVID. Nobody could go out. Nobody could see anybody. There was lots of highs and lows for everybody during that time, and for us, like my dad had a partner for 20 years. She passed away. He wasn't able to see her. It was a terrible. It was a quick thing that happened. So he was then on his own. And the instinct in me was, I can't do that. I need him here with me, and he can't be by himself because he's never been alone. He needs somebody to mind him. So my dad came to live with us. And it was lovely because it was the first time my dad had the kids always there, and we were all just in our little bubble, and it was really nice time. And then we went away. I think there was a break in COVID where you were actually able to travel. We went down to Killarney and came back from Killarney, and I was pregnant. And I remember doing the test and just being completely shocked, not even thinking the kids were beside me. I was like, oh my God, Carl, I'm pregnant. And he was like, no way. And we were like, that's okay. Like,
we'll do this.
This is fine. Like, we're in COVID and all of this is lovely. Yeah. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
And then I had a bleed, which I had with my other two, so I wasn't too worried. Went to the early pregnancy, and they're like, look, just let's give it a week by week type of thing, because it might be still early, because my dates are, I get pregnant later in my cycle than most people do. So that was a horrible time, because they were telling me I was pregnant. They were telling me I wasn't pregnant. They were saying there's a pole there, then there's not a pole there. Then the baby's grown, then the baby's not grown. But we'll keep an eye on your bloods. So the final thing was, the scan was showing, there's the sac and the fetal pole was there. Your bloods are at this level now. We'll do a blood test, come back in, and we'll do a blood test. If we ring you, it means something's wrong. If we don't ring you, it means everything is fine, and come in at your usual. So didn't get a phone call. Right. So we were celebrating, we were delighted, and we were like, oh, this is it. It's after happening. And I went in to have my checkup, and she was going through, and she's like, oh, gosh, I can see here you're miscarrying. I'm so sorry. And I was like, sorry, what? Your bloods, your HTC levels have dropped double, like gone down. And I said, oh no, I was told I'd get a phone call if that was, and she was like, so there was a lot of shuffling of paper, and and that girl, it wasn't her fault. She was like, somebody has messed up along the line, and we're really, really sorry, but it is a miscarriage. And because I was on my own, Cara wasn't with me, height of COVID, I was like, well, I was like, well, what do I do? And she said, a D&C are your options. But it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. I said, I can't go through
Carry your baby for 6 to 8
years. It was a miscarriage is what I was having. So my body was thinking I wouldn't let go of the pregnancy. So I said, okay, well, is there another option? She said, it's medicated. You just take these tablets. So I sat in a room. I took a photo of them and sent them to Carl, and he was like, what's that? I said, this is what I have to take. I said, there's no baby. And it happened on the way home in the car when I was driving home, and through the night and everything else. So that was just
And you've just been through a massive one years earlier, like what women's bodies go through, eh?
Yeah, and I think that particular that miscarriage was the one. And I always say, I was like, I have had an ectopic and it didn't affect, it did affect me.
Sure,
and
but
I
it was
did
a different stage as well.
Because I was about to turn 40.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could be, it was something we never thought we wanted.
Miracle. Yeah.
And it happened. And that feeling, and we were like, oh, we didn't want that feeling to go away. And it was like, I might never get this chance again because I could be going through perimenopause.
It's like being given something and then it's ripped
away. And because you're at a stage in your life where it's starting
kind of shocking
fading away, that the chances are fading away. So it hit me really, really hard, and I did go into a really dark place. And then, but because my dad's partner just passed away, I swept it under the carpet and I did the usual, hey everyone, hi, let's make this today. And my dad and my dad, I didn't want my dad to see me sad because that would have made him very sad. And he was already really bloody sad. So I was like, I'm fine, Daddy. It was meant to be, and I'm absolutely fine. And we just moved and we got on with things. And then 6 months later, exactly the same amount of time it took me to get pregnant on both of the other two kids, I found out I was pregnant again. And I was terrified. And my dad was there as well. And I was like, I can't tell anybody because if this doesn't happen. And the day I was due the baby that I'd lost, I started to bleed. And I was like, oh no. And I went down, the same thing. Look, it's too early. Come back 2 weeks later. She turned the thing away from me. She was giving me a scan. And next thing I just heard, now I bled continuously for that 2 weeks. And I was convinced, just the little heartbeat. And she's like, this little fighter wants to be here. And that was at that moment. Then I was like, I don't care if I have to have this baby in a field. I don't care what, anything. It was just, I was so happy. We were so happy. Everybody was so happy. And that pregnancy went on. I had diabetes, I had everything that you could show. I couldn't care less. I was like, listen, if I have to be bedridden for months, I don't care once this baby gets here.
Do you think a man's a god or a woman? Do you think a god is a man or a woman? What's going on?
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, and the pregnancy, there was everything, all the scans were late and stuff, but there was never, I didn't get I was post-diagnosis.
I was going to say, did you get a pre-diagnosis?
No.
For Jean?
So because of my age,
they never you didn't do the testing or the harmonies.
But there was an indicator on the scan that his femur was short, and that was a marker for Down syndrome.
Is it?
Yeah. So there's different ones: the bridge of the nose, the back of the neck. But some of them don't show up on a scan. But the femur, the length of the femur. Yeah. So when I got called in, I thought something was really, really wrong, and she said, "Look, there's a marker here for Down syndrome." And your baby has a short leg. Yeah. And I was measuring short, and I was like, all right, so he's just going to have a short leg. And she goes, no, both of them are. And I was like, so he'll have two short legs. And I was like, it's grand. Yeah. His dad only has a 29-inch leg and he's 5'11". I was like, it's fine. And she's like, no, it's a marker for Down syndrome. And I said, what would you do? And she was an older mommy. She had just had a child as well. And she said, if it was me, she said, what will be, will be. I don't. And I said, I feel the very same. And she said, there are risks getting the test done. So I booked in and then I backed out of it. Yeah. And we just...
Because what was it going to...
Nothing.
Like, actually speaking to you now, and my gorgeous friend Jill has her beautiful Leo. And she spoke a lot about this. She was on the podcast. What would it have changed for you?
Nothing.
So if you were told your baby might be born with Down syndrome, they probably would have had a 99%.
Yeah.
Would you and Carl have made a big decision?
Oh gosh, no. Like, because that's what I said. I said, if they tell me that my baby
just
has...
pre-armed maybe or warned.
And what she said was, basically for me, she said, what we'll do, it will mean that if your baby has Down syndrome and there's any health issues, we have a team of people there waiting.
On hand.
We're, the pregnancy or the delivery will be, planned, and that's all it will do for our side.
Sure.
But for your side, it will be, again, educating yourself on different things and all of that kind of stuff. And I thought, okay, I know a bit. I have friends who have children with Down syndrome. I don't know the whole ins and outs of everything, but I think I'm okay. And she was like, that's absolutely fine with me. So I just remember waking up, having pains on a Sunday. I was due to have a cesarean on the Monday. And I was like, Carl, I'm in labour. Get me to the hospital. I'm not doing this. So went into the hospital. everything stopped. Daddy can go home. We'll wait for the morning to have your planned cesarean. And I went into full-blown labour that night. They had to ring Carl. They had to get me down to theatre, and he wasn't there. He was at the door getting his scrubs on. They were like, we need to work fast. I was like, just take the baby. You can do whatever you need to quickly. And I just remember when they held him up, it was like... My other two were £9 and £9.1, and he was just this tiny little chicken, you know, when they had
chicken legs.
Oh, and it was like the light was like this. This is reminding me of it. And,
like that.
And he was just like, and I knew the second I laid eyes on him that he had Down syndrome.
Did you?
I knew by his little face, his little eyes, and I just all I could do was smile.
Love.
And I never felt anything. Like
Protection,
obviously I did.
love, care.
And they took him away straight away.
It does help. He's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I know, he's divine. They took him away straight away. And I'm like looking at them. And then Carl came in and he was like, what's that there? And I was like, he's here. And he's sitting down, and I could see them checking in between his toes and stuff. And I said, it's okay. I said, he has Down syndrome. And they said, oh, did you know? And I said, no. I said, but I just know now. And they're like, oh, isn't he just the most beautiful? I said, he's just perfect. And that was how our journey with Gene started. It was gorgeous from the second he was born right through the whole hospital, like an amazing hospital to have him in, because there was no negativity.
I was going to say, what a different... I've had voices on this pod. I've had women talk about things. I've had sad stories. I've had uplifting stories. What a different perspective of something. The joy these kids bring the world, the love, the brightness, the alternative perspective, what they bring to your home. And yet there can be a lot of, obviously, shock, worry, sadness, what is going to happen to them throughout their lives. And you've just got such grace and dignity about this.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
and I think it's so important.
Those things creep in, you know, moments of...
What'll he do? Will he be okay?
But it's not even that. I don't worry about what he's going to be, what he's going to do, because I know he's going to be amazing. He's going to do amazing things.
It's more the world out there, is it? Oh.
What happens when I'm not here?
Yeah. I don't think you're going anywhere, Miss Ozzy. Like, I think that was what I was probably trying to say in a kind of random. It's that always worry, and even with our kids, no matter what, we worry about
and
it.
I know he's got an amazing brother and sister.
Yeah, he
who
does.
Absolutely idolise him.
Yeah.
Ben, his brother, is his idol and worships him. And the only thing, and I say to the kids, Gina's going to go on to do amazing things. You're going to go on to do amazing things. Holly's going to do amazing things. I have 3 amazing children. But I'm not going to be around forever. And that's the only downside.
But Gina, loads of other people will be. You've a community of people. You've kids. You're not going anywhere soon. You're young, right?
It's that. It goes back to that fear of leaving him. People leaving me. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave my other children, but I know they are fine.
They'll be okay, But
I know he will be
fine.
But
they've got him.
They have him. And I just keep saying, just don't put him into a home, into a care.
No one's going to do
and they're like, would you shut up, ma'am, or not? And I was like, I know that you're saying that now. But I said, things can change and you will have your own lives. And
Gina,
you'll have
I'll
your own
DM
family.
them vicious DMs. I'll troll them.
And then everyone's like, listen, he's a nation of people that just want to love him. We'll all
he'll be good. And you're not going anywhere,
No,
Sister
I know.
Sledge. I mean, if you're 82 now, I'd be chatting to you. I'd say, do you have a plan?
Well, do you know, I think what it is that
you've gone through it with your parents.
And because of everything that happened over the last few years, because my Instagram journey life started as a weight loss thing, and I'd lost 8 stone, and I'd become.
Sorry, can you pause?
Yeah.
8 stone. People lose half a stone and they literally go out and they have 3 glasses of wine. That is amazing.
I lost 8 stone,
God,
so I'd
some woman.
become a much healthier version of myself. And I was fitter for my kids. I was healthier for my kids. And then COVID came, and then things changed, and all the bits of grief in between it, I just stopped caring about myself as much, not minding myself as much. And then through my pregnancy, I had diabetes and stuff, so I had to be more stricter, and I'd lost weight through my pregnancy, and I was feeling great after I had Gene. And then again, life kicks in, and I just stopped caring as much about what people thought of me. I didn't really care about the whole aesthetically what I look like and all of that, until you get to an age where, like, I'm 45 now on Friday, and you think, yeah, so what if I'm fat? So what if I have to wear a size 22 to 24? What's that going to do? The other side of it is that I could have a heart attack. Do you know, I'm very overweight, and my doctor is beautiful, amazing woman, and she never, ever, ever, ever said, you know, you go into the doctor and say, pain me.
You don't look very, very overweight.
It's because you've a weight on you, or because of this. She's never
shamed you.
Never in a million years, until I went to her. I thought I went to get the HRT. I was like,
for a whole different podcast.
I'm gone a bit mad, and I'm like a lunatic, and I'm a horrible person to be around lately, and whatever, I need to get the HRT. And she said, let's do your bloods and stuff. So my blood work came back. My cholesterol was quite high. My BMI was on the morbidly obese side. Jesus. And she just said to me, look, you're young, you know what to do. We've got Jean to think about. We've got your family to think about. And she says, and I'm not frightening you, and I'm not scaring you, and I've never said anything about your weight, because it's never an issue. But we need to start thinking about it. So I was like, okay. And then things start kicking in, and then it's that I need to be here. I don't want to.
But
I don't want
the gentle approach. It's like, you're smart. You know what to do. You're good. You're not some idiot.
It was no shame.
There's no
no shame.
You don't lose 3 stone.
And I think sometimes you can, when you gain weight and you become a particular size, you can kind of get a little bit defensive. You go, I don't care. And that wasn't a defense mechanism. It was like, I genuinely didn't give a shit. But now I do, because I think I want to be here till I'm 90. I want to be here until I'm very old. So I was like, right, well, I don't like doing the Slimming World things and the calorie counting. Do my own thing now. I stopped drinking alcohol.
When? Since when?
10 weeks ago.
Big difference?
I've lost nearly 3 stone.
What?
Yeah.
How much alcohol were you drinking?
Well, it wasn't necessarily, I drank beer. Yeah. So I could have an extra 1,600 calories on top of my day's worth of calories.
So you'd have a beer or 2 in the evening?
Oh, no, I could, like on a weekend, I could have 5 beers.
Okay.
If I went out.
That really adds to weight. Like, wow, that's fascinating for anyone listening to this.
Yeah, alcohol was a big, like a big calorie kind of thing. Yeah. But then it wasn't just the alcohol. It was like, oh, I might have a packet of crisps.
What do you eat with it?
Or we might get a takeaway, or we might get Chinese. And I probably already had, you know, my calories for the day.
Okay, fascinating.
So you're adding 2,500 calories to that, and then you add that up over a week. So just stopped drinking alcohol. Stopped drinking alcohol comes with that, the picking and the nipping.
Do you
and
miss
the
it?
Sipping. No, not
you
at
look
all.
Great, like, you're gorgeous. This woman's eyes are like the brownest eyes. You're so gorgeous.
Thank you.
And dressed amazingly. So I don't know what goes on, like, but you know what you have to do, and you obviously have been told.
Yeah.
But you're obviously empowered. You've done this before.
Yeah, like, absolutely. But it's not
aesthetic.
for
it's
aesthetic,
for life.
and it's not for anybody else. It's not for me to come on Instagram and go, oh, look at me, I've lost this. It's not something. I'm only saying it to you now because it relates to what we're talking about.
Are you putting up a lot of recipes now for people who are being calorie aware? No, you're doing what you do.
I have 4 cookbooks that have all of that information in it, and that's why I say to people have often said, like, oh, you've got calorie counting books and you're gaining weight, and I was like, yeah, I can tell you what to eat to lose weight.
Sorry, this is a personal journey of everyone.
I'm like, dude, I'm not a guru. I'm not your counsellor.
Briefly on Jean, he's 4. How is his health? Because I think there's also a massive, like, paranoia that, like, any child who's born with that, like, their health is poor. He seems to be super healthy.
Yeah, the heart is usually the biggest concern, and we were very lucky when he was born. He had a tiny 0.5 millimeter heart in his hull, which closed naturally. So that was just...
He's so cute.
Oh, he's just adorable.
Is he the crack?
Oh, absolutely. He's a little devil. Like, he is my dad.
My Simone would love him.
Personified.
Oh, is he?
And there's times
who does he look like? He's so fair.
Yeah, both of my kids were like fair. He's the image of my dad.
Wow, that's
and
crazy,
everyone who
Gina.
looks at him, they're like, oh my God, it's like your dad, watching your dad. But my dad had 3 months with him before he passed away. And those 3 months were just gorgeous. Like he'd sitting with his cup of tea waiting for him to wake up. And my dad passed away the day after World Down Syndrome Day. And I actually found out I was pregnant on the 21st of March, which is World Down Syndrome Day. Yeah. So everything was, it just was he was meant to be.
It's aligned. He was meant to be. These stories, these losses of the baby you think you're going to have, the baby you get, the family you get, your mothering. I just think we're all on these crazy, like even you saying now, your doctor gently goes, you know what you've got to do? You're going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I see the emotion in that. And we all feel it, Gina, like in different ways for our kids. Like I worry all the time about leaving my kids in different ways. I know it is a different way, but you're going to be fine. And like, the Daily Dish is sublime. It's one of the biggest, stories in Ireland of like foodies, online recipes, Instagram. Tell me about how the hell that came to pass.
So just again, starting it as the journal, got asked to write a cookbook. The girl who was following me was in Slimming World and she had seen my recipes, wrote a cookbook, shit myself because I wasn't a chef, I wasn't an author, I didn't know, and quite Dublin in the way I talk, and especially with cooking. And wrote it. It was a #1 bestseller. It was the fastest selling cookbook ever in Irish history. Wow. Broke all records. And then I think what people related to most was that we used to do stories, myself and Carl, and we'd just have a laugh and we'd have a bit of crack. And I was always on talking and just sharing different things, and people could relate. I wasn't trying to say, look at my beautiful house, or look at this, or look at that, and look at what I have today. I was just Gina being Gina, and that that resonated with a lot of people. So then I wrote another book, and then I wrote another book, and it was Carl helps me with them. We do them together. So we both fell in love with cooking, and what we found with cooking was that it became that time in the evening where we weren't Mammy and Daddy. We were Gina and Carl, and we still liked each other, and we'd have a little kiss in the kitchen, and we'd have a moment to ourselves.
It wasn't just about admin and the kids and drama. You had some other thing, which a lot of couples don't have as an outlet, and that's probably what keeps you together and sane.
And then the end result to it is we get to sit down with with our family and feed them, and it was just a really. And still is. We make sure we sit down as a family every night for dinner. Now I know with teens it's not as easy, and it's so funny because my 2 teenagers have a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and every time their boyfriend or girlfriend comes over, I order takeaway.
Yeah, like I'm not doing it,
and I'm like, I can cook.
What's your death row dish?
It changes all the time. Could be anything. I was like a good. Like me ma's stew, something like that, a really hearty. I think those dinners, I reflect most on those dinners now because they evoke a memory or provoke a memory in me. And it's just like a hug on a plate, really, isn't it? It's comforting. So if I was just about to go down and get the chop, I'd want something that just made me really happy. Yeah, so something like that.
Well, Gina Daly, you're hugging a plate. I can't believe you're the most... You're so soft and warm in a way, but you're also so resilient. And you don't see that, but you've gone through holding yourself as a kid, holding yourself as a teen, through a crap relationship, through a new relationship, through heartache and loss, major loss from babies to parents. And here you are now bringing up your 3 kids and cooking for us all. You're so special. I'm so glad I had you on. Kind of came in a weird way because I probably would have known if you'd have come on or not. And then I was approached. I'm so happy to have spoken to you. Keep doing what you're doing because there's so much in this for women who've had miscarriage, ectopic, poor relationships, who are parenting children with Down syndrome, who are cooking for weight loss. Like you bring so much to the table, and never forget that. Thank you so much, Gina Daly.
Thank you so much. Thank you.